Hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Rudy's Kitchen Express. Bruschetta is probably the most requested dish that I make as an appetizer, and today we're going to make this dish for you. Our ingredients are few, very few. A nice ciabatta bread, something thick and chewy, basil, Roma or plum tomatoes as they're also called, a red onion, just one clove of garlic, salt, pepper, and olive oil. And that's it. Okay, the reason why we use Roma tomatoes is you can see that inside them there's a lot of flesh. I'm using a tomato knife. It works better than a regular chef's knife. So we've got 6 of us here tonight. So I'm going to use about 6 Roma tomatoes. Now you want to cut your red onion thin, and for these 6 tomatoes, I'm probably going to make what would be 2 tablespoons. You don't want to overpower the fresh tomato taste with too much onion. That's why I'm using red onion. It's very mild as well. Yeah, about that much is right. Now, if you were in Italy and you asked for bruschetta, they would say, well, what kind? In North America, we think of bruschetta as a typical tomato and basil. But in Italy, they would put anything, mushrooms, rapini, all kinds of different things on their bruschetta. Bruschetta is like toast. Also, you want to go easy on the garlic because raw garlic is very pungent and strong, and eaten raw, it can give you heartburn if you have too much of it. But suit yourself, however you like to do it. Now, for your basil, try to use fresh if you can. They have prepared fresh basil as well, if there is such a thing, at the grocery store in a tube. And then there's dried. But for this amount, 6 tomatoes, I would use roughly 2 tablespoons of basil. Now this, I roll it up. The term for this cutting technique is a chiffonade. There you have it. To this, I would add about 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper. Now you're going to mix this all together. The salt particularly begins to break down the tomato and release the water from the tomato. And what that does is that brings all the flavors together. So if you can do this 15 minutes, maybe a half an hour before you're going to make your bruschetta, it's a good idea because the salt will work on the tomato, it'll release its water, it'll mix together almost like a little broth almost at the bottom. And in 15 minutes you'll see it's already starting to work, where I'm getting that nice olive oily, there's so much flavor in that. I have a specialty toaster that I can use it just like I'm toasting any kind of toast. Otherwise you could use the broiler in your oven, 1 minute on either side, and that's all you need. Take a raw clove of garlic, brush it against this hot bread to impart some flavor. I can smell it, the aroma of the bread and the garlic together. Okay. Then what I do, start cutting in pieces. I wish you could smell this. Nice warm bread smells so great. Then you can see that there's that liquid that is formed in there. Make sure you give your bruschetta a nice little toss. Get all the flavors mingling. And I'm going to start adding it. Now, what many people do, and what often I've seen in restaurants, is they'll put either some grated cheese, Parmesan typically, or even other cheese, and put it back under the broiler and let that cheese melt on this. Any way you like it, however you've gotten used to it when you're eating out, but this is the way I do it. This is the way I like to do it. So thank you very much, everyone.
And what do we say before we eat?
Buon
Appetito!